A female narcissist will abandon anyone who does this. A female narcissist does not usually abandon people suddenly without a deeper emotional reason underneath it. Most of the time, she abandons people the moment they stop serving her emotional needs, validation, or sense of control. At first, she may appear incredibly charming, emotionally attentive, and deeply invested in the relationship. She knows how to make someone feel uniquely special, emotionally chosen, and intensely important in her world. And this emotional intensity often creates a strong attachment very quickly. But beneath that charm is often a much darker emotional pattern that many people fail to recognize early enough. Because a female narcissist usually does not build relationships based on genuine emotional connection and mutual care. She often builds them around emotional supply, attention, admiration, and control over how others perceive her. This means the relationship works well only as long as the other person continues feeding her ego consistently. As long as you admire her, prioritize her, chase her, and emotionally revolve around her, she may stay deeply engaged and emotionally invested for a period of time. But the moment your attention weakens, your boundaries strengthen, or your emotional exhaustion becomes visible, her behavior can begin changing in ways that feel cold, confusing, and emotionally devastating. A female narcissist will often abandon anyone who starts seeing through her manipulation clearly. Because once someone stops blindly admiring her version of reality, she begins losing emotional control over them. And control is often far more important to her than genuine emotional intimacy. The moment you start questioning inconsistencies in her behavior, she may suddenly become distant, defensive, irritated, or emotionally unavailable. Not because your concerns are unreasonable, but because accountability threatens the image she carefully tries to maintain. A female narcissist will also abandon anyone who no longer emotionally worships her. At the beginning, she may expect constant reassurance, attention, and emotional focus from the relationship. She wants to feel desired, admired, emotionally prioritized, and almost impossible to replace. But eventually, many people begin emotionally burning out from constantly meeting those demands. And once your energy shifts away from endlessly validating her, she may interpret it as rejection, disrespect, or loss of power over you. Instead of communicating honestly about her insecurities, she may pull away emotionally and begin searching for validation somewhere else. This is why many people feel completely shocked after being discarded by a narcissistic partner, because the emotional shift often feels sudden, cold, and emotionally disconnected from reality. One moment, the relationship feels intense and emotionally consuming. The next moment, it feels like you barely exist in her emotional world anymore. A female narcissist will also abandon anyone who becomes emotionally difficult to manipulate. When you finally stop reacting emotionally to guilt trips, silent treatments, or emotional games, she may lose interest surprisingly fast, because manipulation only works when the other person remains emotionally attached to the cycle. The moment you stop chasing her during emotional withdrawal, the dynamic begins changing in a way she no longer controls completely. And for a narcissist, losing emotional control can feel deeply threatening internally. This is also why strong boundaries often trigger abandonment from narcissistic people. Healthy boundaries force accountability, emotional balance, and mutual respect into the relationship. But narcissists often experience boundaries as personal attacks against their control and entitlement. So when you begin saying no more often, when you stop tolerating disrespect quietly, or when you stop sacrificing your emotional well-being to keep her happy, she may slowly begin emotionally disconnecting from you altogether. A female narcissist will often abandon anyone who stops idealizing her constantly, because narcissists rely heavily on external validation to maintain their self-image internally. And once admiration starts fading naturally over time, they may begin feeling emotionally restless, dissatisfied, or emotionally deprived. Instead of working to deepen the relationship in a healthy and mature way, they often start chasing new attention, new admiration, and new emotional excitement elsewhere. This is why some narcissistic relationships feel incredibly intense at the beginning, but emotionally unstable and hollow over time. And perhaps the most painful part of all is this: the people she abandons are often the people who loved her the most deeply. The people who gave endless patience, emotional support, and repeated forgiveness. The people who stayed loyal long after they should have walked away. But narcissism often prevents genuine appreciation from lasting very long, Because once someone becomes emotionally familiar and predictable, the narcissist may stop valuing their loyalty the way healthy people normally would. Instead of seeing love as something to protect carefully, they often see people through the lens of usefulness, validation, and emotional supply. And this is why abandonment by a female narcissist feels so deeply painful and confusing. Because you realize that the emotional connection may not have meant the same thing to her that it meant to you. You realize that while you were building attachment, she may have been building emotional dependency and control instead. But eventually, an important truth becomes clear after enough healing and reflection. Her abandonment was not proof that you were unworthy of love or connection. It was proof that narcissistic people often leave when they can no longer emotionally benefit from someone in the same way. And once you fully understand that, you stop blaming yourself for being abandoned by someone who is never capable of loving in a healthy way consistently.